things.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on Cool FM Live for our Cochise County Sports Show. I'm Dave Davies. The guy walking into the shot is Paul Pizzy Corner, and in the middle, the star of the show, Coach Dennis Baker. Good morning, boys.
Good morning, everybody. Before we get into it, we'd like to remind you that this is brought to you by Synergy Home Care of Sierra Vista, providing non-medical home care to all of Cochise County. Includes Douglas, where I was for 10 hours yesterday. Call me today at 520-685-1035. It's an exaggeration.
I have exciting news. 1 week from today, the driving range will be open here at Sierra Vista Golf Center, Pueblo Del Sol. The TVs will be put in. It's going to be like a Top Golf kind of thing.
Wow.
It's going to be a blast. 1 week from today, the driving range will be, I was told maybe Saturday, but not to promise that. 1 week from today, The driving range will be open. Make sure you get your Vista Plus card to get you discounts on the golf, the beverages, the food, all the things down here at Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol.
Nice.
That is amazing.
So before we get started today, we have bigger fish to fry. We are going to get to our high school sports in just a moment. So, gentlemen, here's what we're going to do. We had a trade in the NBA.
Oh!
There was
a trade.
What?
I'm glad that this happened 3 days
Hadn't
ago.
heard.
Everybody got their takes out because my take is completely different than everybody else's.
Okay.
I'm going to give my take, and then I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. Okay?
Yeah.
This is another, as we like to say, tooting the horn, honk, honk. I can get Jamon on the phone right now. I can get John on the phone right now. We can go to any of my friends. For years, I've been saying this. Luka Doncic is a bum. Luka Doncic is an out-of-shape, alcoholic, I don't care about basketball bum. I wouldn't tuck Luka Doncic with a 5-foot pole, and the Dallas Mavericks are geniuses where they figured this out way before anybody else did, and they got something for Luka Doncic. There's no way they were going to let themselves get wrapped into $325 million for a guy that won't do a sit-up. Like, Luka Doncic is an absolute waste. He will never win an NBA title, and this is a scare trade for the Los Angeles Lakers because they're so terrified of what's going to happen post LeBron James that they'll bring in another star and give away what is actually the asset of the team in their center, Anthony Davis.
So we're starting with the diatribe first today?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just letting
He has
you know.
another one, basically.
Luka Doncic is
Dave
the
Davies
most
show,
overrated, overhyped player I've ever seen in my life, and the Dallas Mavericks did themselves a huge favor by getting rid of him.
That is an interesting take. I wouldn't go that far saying Luka's a bum. He's a superstar.
But what kind of superstar?
A very big one.
Did we forget that just months ago they were in the NBA Finals
Yes, we
and
did.
played against a Celtics team that was clearly better than every other team in the league? So, you could say, well, it was Luka's fault that they lost in the championship. Oh, they got to the championship in the West with an absolute bum as the guy on the team.
I love it.
That's tough. That's tough.
Or maybe my wording was a little harsh. I don't like
Was it?
Luka
Do you
Doncic.
think?
I don't like Luka Doncic.
So you don't. What
I
is it
can't
that
stand the way
is
that he
it-
plays basketball.
I-
He's the new LeBron James. He's a manipulator. He tries
cries.
to draw calls. He whines all the time.
Yeah.
He does not play defense.
Yeah.
Like Luka Doncic
All these are true.
is a me player. He is a me guy. That's why he doesn't stay in shape. Why he's so late, because all he cares about is Luka Doncic.
So you just don't like the way he plays, not necessarily the fact that
He doesn't play winning basketball.
I think he does. I think Coach just said he took Kyrie Irving and a bunch of nobodies to the NBA championship against the Celtics team.
What was that last name he said? The Hall of Famer?
Kyrie Irving, the best number 2 there's ever been.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying too, though. I get the spirit of what you're saying. Like, I mean, obviously there has to be something there because teams don't typically trade generational future Hall of Famers and when they're 25 years old. So there has to be something there. And especially the Mavericks. The Mavericks have a history with Dirk Nowitzki. When they have a guy, they keep the guy, and kept Dirk Nowitzki for 20 years, only won one championship, and they feel like that was a fair deal. So,
One title. That's one title more than other people get to win.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, like, even the Dallas fan base, they all revere Dirk and they're happy with how that career went, came and gone, even though it was 20 years, one title. If they were going to apply that same love and affection, I think, to Luka. And, he's only 25 years old, already had one trip to the finals. I know, specifically being from Dallas, I've talked to some of my friends there. They are crushed.
They're heated, yes.
They are crushed.
My quarterback's crushed.
To think
It's gonna
about
affect his performance in the
to think
Super Bowl.
about what Dallas has to do for this to be considered a successful trade? Because you said, hey, the Mavericks were genius. I don't know, were they? Because you would have to – they were just in the finals and lost in the finals with Luka last year. So you trade Luka. What do you have to do this year now? You have to win it all.
I think they put themselves in a position to do that.
And maybe they did, because I have a lot of respect for AD. I think he's the best defensive player in the league. I think he's the best combination of offense and defense in the league, but he is not a superstar. And I think in the modern NBA and in modern sports, if you have a superstar, you hang on to that guy because that's what drives the fan base. That's what drives other free agents to maybe want to join the team at times, and you can always remain in contention. AD has a history of being injured. He has a history of not winning, I would say, because he didn't win anything until he paired up with LeBron. So, there's some risk associated there with Dallas too, and you put yourself in a position where anything less than a championship looks like you went backwards. Even if they are in contention, if they get to the second round of the playoffs and then they lose to a better team, OKC, it's still going to be like, yeah, you lost to a better team, but why do we trade Luka? We were right there. We were right there.
If I may, the Dallas Mavericks have privilege to more information about Luka Doncic than everybody else does.
True.
And it's the same thing when Russell Wilson was traded from Seattle. When Dallas calls you and offers you Luka, you don't ask yourself why. Like, why is Dallas offering me a 25-year-old Hall of Famer? Like, that is the.
They must know something we don't know. Yeah.
They must know something that we don't know.
So I can't get into the I can't speak on the basketball part of it. I do know the story. At the end of that, it's reported that Mark Cuban just gave Luka anything he wanted. He's treated a lot like a superstar. Luka's my guy. This is Luka. Mark Cuban sells his majority stake in the Mavericks, doesn't make any more basketball decisions. The people that are making basketball decisions now don't necessarily like that Luka is put on a pedestal above all the rest of the players because they think it's a team.
Okay.
So that creates a rift between them and Luka Doncic. Next thing we know, this is credit to the NBA. The first story in the week leading up to the Super Bowl is the NBA's trade with Luka Doncic.
We've never seen anything like this.
Yeah,
this is unprecedented.
So NBA, if you have some rule changes, then you might want to throw them out now while you have this momentum.
You know what? Is this a revenge for the Christmas Day thing?
Probably.
Where the NBA is like, oh, okay, you have a game going on.
All the owners
watch this.
Talked about it. And, hey, if you're going to do any trades, do it Super Bowl week. That's
the only thing I find surprising is they didn't shop him. It was one call, one team, we're done, get rid of the guy.
It was weird, right?
Because what can you get for Luka Doncic? I mean, you could get everything.
But the trade, it's actually so big, you cannot shop them because the information would get out, and if it got out,
like you said, Luka
it would be terrible.
Jason Kidd didn't know. Nobody knew.
Terrible. LeBron didn't know. Any of these guys know it gets blown up before it even gets started.
Well, you're going to trade Luka. They would have burned down the stadium before they traded Luka Doncic.
Exactly. Luka would have been on social media. LeBron would have been on social media. It would have been
the moment that name gets out.
Like going back to my team a few years ago, nobody knew Tyreek was getting traded until he got traded.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't Tyreek Hill. Okay, Tyreek Hill would be the Bradley Beal of the NBA.
They have the
Luka Doncic is
Correct.
Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just saying, like, you could keep it quiet.
Yeah, but this was hard. The only way they could keep this quiet is only two people knew about it, and that's the two people talking about
the two GMs. Yeah,
right.
Maybe. But yeah, that was wild time.
Wild times we live in.
And then you have this other massive trade that nobody cares about because of this trade.
What's the trade? I didn't.
De'Aaron Fox got traded to the Spurs.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
So was he still on Sacramento?
So the Bulls 2 years ago have this core that just isn't working, and they break it up. And what does Sacramento do? Is sign the core of the Chicago Bulls that didn't work in Chicago.
So they got Levine and DeRozan.
Yeah. Well, let's try this again in Sacramento. Maybe it'll work over here.
Back to the Luka thing. I think what you were saying about Luka getting star treatment in Dallas from Mark Cuban, maybe there's some the truth to that, and I think that makes this trade even a better fit because if it's one thing you know about the Lakers, that they know how to treat superstar players. They're used to having superstar players. Their fan base kind of craves it. Like anytime that there's any star player, if you're on social media, at some point Laker fans show you a way of how that player is going to end up on their team at some point.
But they were already 21st in the league in defense before this trade. What are they going to be now?
Well, after the trade for Kyrie, people forget, and this is one thing I know, people forget after the trade for Kyrie Irving, Dallas Mavericks had the 8th ranked defense in the NBA. He can play defense, and I think you give
give them
a
AD.
LeBron James kind of leadership to show him how it's done. Maybe Luka gets his
There's
stuff
only
together.
one basketball out
Look,
there, brother.
I'll tell you right now, Luka Doncic, and maybe it wouldn't have worked out in Dallas, but being shipped off, and especially for as little as they got in return, I know AD, I know the draft is what it is, for as little as they got in return for Luka Doncic, that's going to light a fire that he's never been. And maybe that fire never gets lit in Dallas, but we're about to see the best version of Luka Doncic that's ever been.
And he's never played with anybody like LeBron James.
No, he's always been the guy. And LeBron James, despite what people might think about him, commands respect around the league.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes his teammates better, whether it's on the court or off the court.
I got a bold take for you. LeBron James will not be a Laker in 3 weeks.
Whoa.
Oh, what'd you say?
Whoa, he said LeBron James won't. Well, the trade deadline's in Thursday.
Oh,
So
okay. Excuse me. LeBron
would-
James won't be a Laker in 3 days.
Whoa.
Ooh, he will be.
Well, I've heard some rumors, but
We do have a
just
comment in the chat.
Golden
Brian,
State Warriors.
Brian O'Shaughnessy
Yeah.
said, found it. Oh, well, Golden State was called
Brian,
about
what's
every.
up, Brian? I was hanging out with Brian last night at Urban Act.
No
Yard.
kidding. All right, that's where that comes from. I thought he missed. I thought he was trying to text somebody.
Oh, but yes. Yeah, Brian, we were just talking about the fact that I think the Mavericks fleeced the LA Lakers.
And I think
now Anthony Davis
every
can go
other
back to
person-
playing the 4. They have
Yeah.
2 5s in Dallas. Anthony Davis can go play the 4. There's not a 4 in the league that can hold Anthony Davis other than Giannis, which you'd see in the finals.
But there's not a 4 in the league that he can cover on the perimeter. It's just it's
the Dallas Mavericks were winning games. Luka Doncic hasn't played in months. Like
Yeah.
he's a load that doesn't get in shape. He hasn't played in months. The Dallas Mavericks are winning games
But
anyway.
neither is
Here's
Anthony
what I
Davis,
think.
So that's what I don't understand. It's like, oh, Luka's injury prone. We're going to trade for injury anyway. Go ahead, Coach.
here's what I think.
Two different
And they're not, this isn't going to come out because it's between the two people. I think, because it's already come out that it was Dallas that reached out first. I think it was Kyrie for Anthony Davis. Go ahead and get Kyrie and LeBron back together. Give us AD. And that's where the conversation started. And I bet Rob Pelinka was like, would you be open to Luka?
No. They called and said Luka. The Dallas Mavericks called and said, "Are you interested in Luka Doncic?" What they should have done, what the Lakers should have done, was trade LeBron instead of AD.
I love that
And
you
then you
took
have
it.
Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis.
I honestly
Coach.
don't think Dallas would have wanted LeBron over AD. Not that,
You're right.
respectfully to LeBron, but
He's 40
he's
years old.
40, and AD is the defensive piece
Tom
that
Brady
they really
had one
want.
team he could sign with after he came out. That just as with some people,
Right.
organizations have to look in the future.
Yeah.
And you might
Yeah.
win me a Super Bowl now, but what does that keep us in 3 years? But I'm glad you brought up the Kyrie thing because he's an unrestricted free agent next year.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James.
Kyrie's
are
not
gonna be
going
Lakers.
anywhere. 'Cause
Oh, he will.
No, he will.
He
He's
been
already
given the
burned
keys.
every bridge.
And he's been given the key. When
Not LeBron.
they trade Luka,
They tried to
they
get
basically
Kyrie.
said, Kyrie,
Yes.
you're the guy.
Yep.
Offensively.
100%.
And he's gonna
Kyrie
be
Irving
like,
now
I can't
runs
do
the
it.
Dallas.
Sorry about it.
By the way,
Anyway.
I will say,
You never know what
One last
Kyrie's
thing
gonna
before
do.
we go into
Yeah,
high
please.
school sports. There was a guy on Twitter 3 years ago that literally predicted all of this.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And he was talking about the Kyrie Irving thing, where they're going to blow up Kyrie Irving and use that as a scapegoat to get rid of Luka Doncic. And he called the team. He said to the Lakers, he said, Luka Doncic is going to the Lakers. They're going to use Kyrie Irving and scapegoat Luka Doncic and get rid of him. And I was like,
Man.
woo!
Well, at that
But again,
time,
I
Kyrie
completely agree
That
with it.
guy's a prophet.
I completely agree with it. I think Luka Doncic is so overrated. He'll never win an NBA title.
So you don't, okay. Today, are the Lakers
Last word.
or Mavericks better?
The Mavericks are better than they were yesterday.
I mean, who's better out of the two teams?
The Mavericks are.
You think so?
Absolutely. Like 1 through 10? Absolutely they are.
I don't know.
I mean, what are
just
we
don't
talking about?
know.
Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves?
We're talking about Luka and LeBron.
That's a video game thing. It doesn't work in reality. Those two players do not coexist.
I
There's
think they
no
do.
way.
I think they do.
I think
LeBron's
that-
been trying to get off the ball for 2 years now, and
He
Luka's
just
ball
needed
dominant.
somebody that could take the ball from him. I think LeBron was was trying to give it to Austin Reeves actually, but this is a much better option.
When
forgot to
Luka's
put
on the
that
floor,
headline on
LeBron James is going to be relegated to a wide open stand up 3-point shotter. Like,
Who,
and
Luka or
No,
LeBron?
LeBron. LeBron's going to be relegated to standing there at the line while Luka does everything, and he's going to sit there and wait to shoot.
I
open
think they'll
threes.
take turns doing that. yeah, I agree. The fit doesn't seem.
It doesn't work at
It
all.
doesn't seem-
It's a post LeBron move. Like, what are we going to do when LeBron leaves? What are we? Oh, we figured it out. So now they don't care if they win or lose.
But
Like,
since
they have their guy.
would you say their games are similar?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always called Luka the other LeBron.
Yeah. I think.
You got to be careful.
I think Luka could learn a lot from LeBron because their game is so similar. They're both ball dominant guys, but I think LeBron has a championship pedigree that Luka doesn't have, and maybe maybe some of that rubs off on him. I think even being in by proxy of the Lakers organization, this is a championship organization, probably, if not the best organization in basketball. It's second to the Celtics, and they know how to get it done. And they know, like I said before, they know how to treat star players, and they don't just mean like VIP in the locker room. I mean, like, they know how to win and build teams around their superstars. They have a history of it. Dallas, not so much. LA, hey, you could say and feel how you feel about Luka's defense and his conditioning, his weight, all of these things, but we could say the same thing about Jokic. I question his conditioning. I question his athleticism. I question his love for the game.
I think it's part of his
Jokic does 100% does not love the game,
Right.
But he also doesn't miss games either.
I don't think you're at
True.
the top of the game
True.
without loving the game to some extent. I think it's all just a facade.
That's what I agree with.
He wants to show other players like, oh, I don't care, and that personality.
And I think he
trait
genuinely
rubs me the wrong
likes to
ways.
drink. And
Gerald Morgan
hang
in the
out.
chat says, "Hi guys, all right,
All right.
Moving on.
final thought." That was it.
One last thing.
I told you, Coach was getting last word.
They could have allowed Luka to sign the Supermax and then traded him. That's how much they don't like Luka Doncic. They just cost him $120 million. They
those
could have
are
let him
fast.
sign his contract and then trade him. And they're like, sorry, get out of
He
here.
would have been too hard to trade at that point. But
Oh, I think it
No,
would
but
have
then
been
he's locked
easier.
up. Then you have a locked up player.
Exactly.
Like, I have
Yeah.
Luka for the next 5 years.
And you have a locked
yeah,
up
true. Supermax though.
one
Supermax.
player. Anyway, here we go.
All right.
Let's get over to our
I'm sure
high
that was
school
talked about.
coverage where everyone is. I hope nobody was like, "Are they doing pro sports now? We're going to get out of here."
No, it was such a big trade. We've
It was
never
a
seen
big
if Babe
trade.
Ruth just got traded, basically.
If we're
Yeah.
on this, like I say, if we're on the week of the Super Bowl and we're talking NBA, that is the craziest.
time.
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't even follow the NBA.
Right.
Really. But let's go ahead. Let's do something different this time. Let's go ahead and start with the AIA rankings official.
Yes.
Because we only have a couple of games left for each team, and we're getting to the nitty gritty where teams need to move if they think they're in postseason contention.
Called the disrespecting Douglas rankings.
Oh, the boys.
All right, let's do this.
It's a lot of
Speaking of
disrespect
Douglas,
going
shout
around.
out Tony Morales, uncle to JD and Justin Hurtado. I met him yesterday. Very cool guy. Officer Tony Morales with the Douglas Bulldogs. He said he loved our show, and he said we need to give more love to Douglas. And I told him, hey, man, that's why we were at the Benson Holiday Classic, and every single game of Douglas we broadcast.
100% girls and boys.
It's tough. That's Coach Baker said he's going to schedule Douglas like 4 or 5 times during next season, so we get to watch Douglas and Buena go at it. But it's just tough because, I mean, they're not only are they not playing all the other teams in Cochise County, they're playing teams from the Nogales and the Santa Cruz area, which nobody really knows about, to be
Right.
honest with you.
And
So.
behind the curtain stuff, Douglas, unfortunately, you're further away than every other team that we cover, so it's a little tough.
That's what Wilcox has going for it, is it comes down to Benson.
Yes,
it comes
exactly.
down to
so we get
Bisbee
to see
and
the Cowboys
Tombstone.
more often than we normally would if we had to drive all the way out to Wilcox.
Speaking of which, San Simone's in St. David on Monday. Might have to go to that one. We'll have to see what our schedule shakes out as. But let's go ahead and start off with the girls' rankings, and we'll start in 1A, the AIA official rankings. The Valley Union Blue Devils, Lady Blue Devils, come in at 22 with just a couple of games left. It's looking like they're not going to make the postseason.
I like what you're doing here because then I can just do this real quick after you do the rankings. So, yeah, so you said
Go
they're
ahead.
22, 8-14 on the year. Again, this is our last week of basketball, basically, other than the Buena Colts. We've already made it through basketball season. 8-14 on the year, 4-4. Now you're actually done with their year. They don't have another game scheduled.
Oh,
They lost to St. David last week. They beat Patagonia. They lost to Tombstone.
there you go.
St. David, your season's over. Thank you for entertaining us, Lexi Boss. And that St. David game, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Lexi, you had a great year. And Valley Union, we'll see you on the baseball
That
field.
was a hell of a 3-game stretch. Tombstone and St. David in a 3-game stretch.
Yeah, I know, right? Ending your season on some killers.
But I like one thing that I have to say is I love that Valley Union, despite all the struggles, made it happen to field a team, and it shows you the athletic director, the coaches, everyone coming together because they know how important sports are, especially to developing youth. And Coach Baker knows all about that one.
Absolutely. Just specifically, even tonight, we're playing. We have a game tonight that the other team couldn't get it together for their JVB or freshman team. So it's not easy, especially when you have a smaller schools, and when I'm talking about a 5A school.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine for some of the 3A, 2A, and even 1A schools how difficult it is to field a team and keep that team together long enough to play in a full season, especially when you're not having success and the team may be losing more games than winning, it's hard to keep everybody motivated to keep coming. And hey, let's just finish this season out because we're building on for the future. So, kudos to these teams for fighting through. I know it's a grind. Yes. Especially early on when you're trying to build a program, but it's a start, and you got to get that foundation.
All right, we're going to go over now to the San Simon Lady Longhorns. I guess you should read off the boys, and never mind. I'll figure it out. We'll go over to the lady, unless you want to go over to the boys' Valley.
No, because I was actually doing this last night. I don't know any of these rankings. So where is San Simon Ladies?
Number
really
13, right there in postseason contention,
wow,
currently
good.
in the playoff spot.
Okay, yeah, that's why you got me curious. They're 5-12 on the year. They beat San Manuel. They beat San Miguel. And their last game is home against the Arizona School of Deaf and Blind. They're going to the playoffs. Briley Sloan, freshman, that San Manuel game, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 7 assists, 3 assists, 7 steals, excuse me. And Betsy Castellanos, 8 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and 4 steals. So they're going to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations to the San Simon Lady
A lot of our girls.
Longhorns.
That's why I got to hear these rankings. A lot of our girls are going to the playoffs.
Sounds good.
Speaking of girls that are going to the playoffs, as we finish up our AIA coverage of 1A, the St. David Tigers dropped to number 4 and are completely out of the open bracket.
The girls?
Yes.
Okay, because they're 6-0 in their region. They're done with their games for the year. They beat Valley Union 56-25. They lost to Mogollon 30-29. That was a weird score. They're done playing their games for the year. I'm assuming they're going to the postseason.
They're just number 4.
Yeah, they're going.
If you
may not go to
the
the
open bracket that encompasses all basketball
6A.
teams.
Oh, I think they're probably better off staying in the 1A.
I think so too as well. I think they would have probably just forfeited that game and gone back to back.
Yeah, exactly. Like no, we're good because as they're good, they're not what they were last year. So yeah, but they can still beat the 1A bracket. Absolutely, they can.
We'll jump over to our 2A teams. Number 32, the Bisbee Lady Pumas had that big win against Wilcox, but looks like their season's going to be cut just a little bit short.
Yeah, again, they had a good year, 12-10, 5-5 in their region. Let's see, they lost. We were at that St. Augustine Catholic game that they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter.
They would have been in the postseason.
God bless America. They did beat San Miguel by a ton. They have their last game Thursday. We'll be there against Morenci. But yeah, it looks like Lady Pumas are going to fall just a little short, but we'll be there to celebrate y'all on Thursday anyways.
Jump over to number 22, and the Benson Lady Bobcats currently in a play-in game at 22. They got to finish, I believe, top 24 if my math is right. So Kaylee Taylor and the girls currently in postseason form.
Yeah, something slightly concerning. They lost to Morenci. They beat San Miguel. In that San Miguel game, Kaylee Taylor didn't play. I don't know why. Coco Ferran, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Nevia Pfeiffer, 11 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal.
Okay.
But there's no Kaylee Taylor on that stat line. So,
We've seen that a couple times.
I don't know.
I was thinking, going back to CJ, because he scored his 1,000th point, and they had that game on the road. I think they just wanted to have CJ score his 1,000 point at home.
That could be.
That happened to Kaylee Taylor, actually.
Yeah, she did hit her 1,000.
Well,
Kudos to her.
She scored 999 in Bisbee, and then they waited for the 1,000th. So, yeah.
And that was our highest rated, I guess you call it rating, this TV ratings, highest rated live stream for girls basketball. Everyone was tuning in to watch Kaylee Taylor.
To watch her get that 1,000 points.
Nice.
And I'm glad they did it at home, but at the same time, I was very disappointed with the crowd turnout for Kaylee Taylor going to get 1,000 points.
Might as well just done it in Bisbee when everybody was watching.
And the gym was crazy, and all the Bisbee fans were like, we really want to see her get it. You know, it's an achievement. And that's one thing I love about Cochise County. It's just like, yeah, these guys are our rivals, but at the same time, we want to see them succeed as well.
Right.
We'll jump over to number 14 and the Wilcox Cowgirls.
They're 14?
Yes.
Okay. 18-7 on the year, 7-3 in their region. They beat the dog poop out of Desert Christian, 45-10. 45-10. How'd they
Say
score
it again
the 10?
for the people in the back.
They beat Duncan 49-36, and even better news, they have 2 games left. They're both at home, Patagonia and Santa Rita. So let's go, Cowgirls. So you want to be a cowgirl, baby? Let's go. Well, guys, Cowgirls looking good this year.
And the 2A team, everyone's keeping an eye on the Tombstone Lady Yellow Jackets. They also drop out of open bracket play, currently ranked number 9 in 2A, so top 10 as they have Rachel Thursby back and doing big things.
Yes, they do, because she had 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. against the Gregory School. And Damaris Alvarez, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. They're done with their regular season play. They beat Morenci. They beat Valley Union 44-17. So Tombstone Lady Yellow, it's just postseason time now. We're done with basketball season, just like that. Just like that.
They got a couple games.
I know,
Some people got a couple games. We have Bisbee and Morenci Thursday. Didn't know that was going to shape up to be such a big game, too. Hey, we'll talk
Shout
about
out to Clarissa Statello, so I could watch our boys last night.
We'll talk about boys basketball. We talk about boys basketball, but the no longer disrespected Douglas Lady Bulldogs, currently top 10 in 4A at number 9 and number 31 in the open bracket. And why I say that's not disrespectful, Dave, they're doing it without superstar Scarlett Ruiz.
Yeah, they're still, again, 20-3 on the year. I mean, my goodness. And we lose Scarlett Ruiz, we get new players like Yolissa Kenyatta, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 steals. Dana Pena, 10 points, 6 assists, and a rebound. So, we lose one. Kyra Espinoza, 16 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 steals. These are all against the Choya game. They beat Choya 72-16.
How'd they score the 16?
How'd they score the 16?
Oh, man. Congratulations, Lady Bulldogs, doing it without Scarlett Ruiz. I can't say enough about the resiliency of that team. Yeah. We're going to go over to our 5A team, the Buena Lady Colts. Currently ranked 20th in play-in postseason whatever.
Are they?
Games.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's see. 7-11, 2-4, but they're going to the postseason.
So far.
They did beat Cienega last week.
There you go.
Had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals. Isis Perez, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. And Kashari Baker, 8 points and 6 rebounds against Cienega.
She sounds familiar.
I've heard the name.
I've heard of her.
Huh.
8 points and 6 rebounds against.
That's not to spend time on her.
Against
Coach Baker's daughter.
I haven't noticed those numbers on that player.
Right.
So congratulations to all our ladies teams. I actually like the way we're doing this breakdown of high school sports right now. I think this is flowing. We got the flow. Let's go over and flow for some boys. We'll start off again with the 1A teams. The Valley Union Blue Devils currently ranked number 41 in the AIA. So again, Valley Union, after losing not Lane Wetton, that was Wilcox.
Not Dylan Mitchell. The big Landon Glenn.
Dylan Mitchell and Landon Glenn. They finished their season 1-15, 1-7 in sections. They lost to Patagonia, Lourdes Catholic, and St. David. But again, just continue grinding away, boys. You're going to get life lessons out of this that you wouldn't believe.
There's up years, there's down years.
There's down years, and we're going to, I want to give a shout out to a 2A team before we finish. Don't let me forget about the Tombstone Yellow Jackets. We're going to go over to the San Simon boys team, the Longhorns, not as successful as their counterparts, the Lady Longhorns, currently ranked 34th in the AIA, and they are 6-15, 3-4 on the season. They went 1-1. They did beat Superior. Next week, I'll go and have all the season stats for all the teams that got it. I usually just break down the week that was.
No, I know you started in 1A. Are we going to the ALA? Because we have to talk about yesterday real quick. I don't know if we're doing ALA or not.
Oh shoot! Yeah, we should. We'll do that after we get the rankings. Thank you for reminding. I would have completely forgot about it.
Yeah, we need to talk about what I saw last night. But sure.
We're going to go over to the 17th ranked St. David Tigers, currently 1 game out, I believe. I think it's top 16, not 12.
Do they have any games left?
1 game out of playoff contentions.
Left.
We'll have to wait and see. They are 11-14, 5-1 in section, currently ranked 3rd. They did beat the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind and the Valley Union Blue Devils last week, so St. David, no stats from last week. But they're on the cusp, and we're going to have to see how some things shake out in 1A.
Yeah, I mean, they may need people to lose because I don't think they have anything left scheduled.
All right, we're going to jump over to our 2A boys coverage. The Tombstone Yellow Jackets, 43rd. They are 9-17 on the season, 2-8 in sections. They win 1-2. They beat Patagonia. But I want to say, this is going back to the Valley Union Blue Devils. The Tombstone Yellow Jackets were a scrambled organization last year as well. And shout out to Coach Valenzuela, who came up and coached both teams, but it was just not going to work last year. Now it seems like Tombstone, this is the first step in a building block, and I know these seniors are probably going to be disappointed with how their high school basketball careers go, but when they look back on it, and if Tombstone has success next year and the year after and the year after, this was the first step in that building block to get them to be a successful basketball program. It might not feel like it now, but congratulations, Yellow Jackets. 9-17 from where you were last year. Huge improvement, and it's only going to get better, we hope.
Coach Heck has them coached up over there. Like I was expecting what game did I go do over there? Wilcox, and I was expecting Wilcox to run the doors off Tombstone. Didn't happen. Tombstone was within 2. They were within 2. Coach Heck has the boys coached up right now, so he's doing a good job.
Good deal. Good deal.
Coach, as someone who you didn't build a program, you always give credit to the people that came before you and said that you walked into a good situation. How hard is it to walk into that Tombstone situation where to Coach Valenzuela is trying to coach both teams, girls and boys? He's got to run both practices at the same time.
I can only imagine. That's really tough. And I can speak on it because I know I coached at Tombstone, and when I got there, it was winless. There was 0 wins and 0 expectations, and to try to set a foundation there to get to something different can be very challenging for anybody. For the coach, it's also challenging for the players and just kind of everybody involved. So I know it's hard. I know Coach V was coaching the girls and the boys, and that had to be difficult because they were at the same school, but 2 programs going in kind of opposite directions. The girls team was very successful and looking like they're, very optimistic about their current, not just their future. When it came to the boys program, it was going to be a grind, and it was going to be a grind to try to build something there that was going to take a little bit more time, a lot more effort, a lot more off-season work and time, and one person really just can't do all that, and it's hard to find another person or even help with your coaching staff to really put the time in off season to really develop the players and the team to be competitive in your in season stuff.
So you got my mind wandering. I'm trying to figure out how I would coach girls and boys at the same time. Like, how would you even do that?
Well, he had help. I think he had his dad that was helping and stuff like that. But still, it's not enough. We've seen, and I've seen in my years of coaching, not just being a head coach, when I was an assistant coach before, like if your players aren't playing all year round, if you're not competing in summer tournaments, spring basketball leagues, all these things, off-season development, then you're not basketball season, you're not going to be competitive enough in the regular season. And it's because of that stuff. And when you're a small school like Tombstone, all these teams struggle with it. Valley Union, all the 1A, 2A, 3. It's a struggle to have the players because they play other sports too, and they're needed. And it's a struggle to have coaches, help coaching, assistant coaches that have the time and availability to do all the off-season stuff to really build your team in a way where it can be. In Tombstone specifically, for example, their girls in that program were able to see the success early on. Rachel Thursby, some of those other girls, they saw it and they were willing to, hey, let's go a little bit extra. Let's spend some time in the off-season. Let's play summer basketball. Let's play spring basketball and fall basketball. Yeah, it is. And that's what's leading to their success there. So culture, you're right. It's a culture, and it doesn't come overnight. It has to be built, and it's good to see the boys. With 9 wins, they're going in the right direction, and that's good to see.
And again, don't forget that 6'8" freshman that's honking around over there too.
Oh, no kidding, right? All right, now that we got that love fest out of the way, let's go over to the Benson Bobcats, currently ranked 34. So Benson still technically hold their fate in their own hands. They're 1 game behind Desert Christian for number 2 in the conference, and I believe Coach Montillo was saying that 2 in this region get automatic qualifications for a postseason game. We'll have to see. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But they're 1 game behind Desert Christian, and they play Desert Christian in their final game of the season.
Yep,
perfect.
Yes, they do.
Last week, the Benson Bobcats went 1-1. We're going to talk about Dawson Judd, who averaged 10.5 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists per game last week. Congratulations, Dawson Judd. Junior really starting to step up. Luke Chapman, sophomore, averaged 12 points per game last week. And, of course, Dominic Villa. It wouldn't be Benson unless we talked about him. 9.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and also it looks like he averaged 4 steals per game. So the Benson Bobcats, two section losses, and they have Desert Christian coming in. We know all about Desert Christian. They won the Benson Holiday Classic, beating a very good Douglas Bulldogs boys team. That's 2A against 4A, so that's going to be a tough one.
You got to earn it. You got to earn it. But
you want to be there.
I always talk about effort on the basketball court. Dawson Judd is the epitome of effort on a basketball court. That kid works harder than everybody else on the court. I just wanted to say that.
We'll go over to the Wilcox Cowboys, currently ranked number 33, looking like postseason aspirations are gone for them, which is crazy. They started off the season on fire.
Wait a minute. You talking about how good Desert Christian was? That can't be right, because Wilcox beat them 45-10 last week.
The girls.
Oh, the girls. Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
So the Wilcox Cowboys, who came out, they beat Bisbee. I believe they beat Benson. They were just on fire. 12-11 currently, 5-5. They went 1-1 last week. They did beat San Miguel, but it looking like with just a couple of games left, there's not enough time for the Wilcox Cowboys to come back in to postseason play. We'll have to wait and see. We'll talk about Ty Scholl, who had 11 points and 3 assists last week. Jerry Reyes went 10 for 10, a double-double. And J.D. Wetton, 8 points and 5 rebounds.
That kid's going to be
for
a
the
star.
sophomore.
Next year, you watch average.
He's got a lot to live up to with Lane Wetton, but Lane Wetton was unfair. He's like 9 feet tall.
J.D. Wetton is going to be a star. One day, that man will be a star.
We're going to get over to the Bisbee Pumas.
J.D. Wetton.
Currently ranked 29th, so just outside of postseason play, but Thursday, the Bisbee Pumas finished with the Morenci Wildcats, who are number 1 in the section and definitely going to the postseason. So Bisbee may just hold all the cards in this
We're
in
gonna
their
have to earn it.
postseason lives.
We're going to be there hand in hand on Thursday night, Bisbee. We're going to have to win this thing together, baby. It's going
Bisbee
to be a
is
tough one.
currently 14-11, 7-3 in sections. They went 2-1 last week. Sebastian
And they're right
Lopez
there.
last week, 28.5 points average, 10 rebounds. Hunter Wright averaged 9.5 points and 5 rebounds. And I want to give a shout out to Eddie Andrade against St. Augustine Catholic, a game we were at. 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals in that ball game, really coming into his own.
Do we know who they were playing last night when Clarissa was streaming that?
San Miguel.
Sam, because Eddie Andrade went nuts last night. Big old 3 burgers all over the place.
Stay tuned next week. We talk about his game. Eddie
Oh,
Andrade.
Bisbee wants to schedule a game against y'all, just so you know. I was like, I think we can make that happen, Coach.
Let's go
I don't
back
think
to
they
the-
want that smoke, but
Do the Buena tournament. That idea was a
It would
great
be
one.
a good game for us. That would be a challenge. Obviously, I like us against anybody, but no, we're not that much better than anybody, really. So
I love
it would be a fun game.
I
But
love
yeah,
all the teams.
I agree.
Yeah, Coach.
I
wants to
don't,
play that game.
and I love all the teams, but it is well known that Cochise County is rebuilding for basketball this year, and boys, aside from one
The
or
girls,
two teams, and that's one of them.
Yeah,
Buena's there,
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I told Coach Hernandez, I'm like, you sure? Like, you sure you want to do that?
and I love Bisbee, and I love everything about him.
Well, of course.
I love every
I love
team we
my home
cover.
and all, but I'm like, come on, let's there's
But there's a reason
apples
Buena
and there's
is where they
better
are in the
apples.
rankings, let me tell you. Let's go over to the 4A, and the Douglas Bulldogs, Dave, might have played themselves out of postseason contention, but they are currently ranked number 26, so right on the cusp, because last week the 13-9 Bulldogs, who are 4-1 in sections, lost 2 games. They went 0-2. They lost to Sabino and they lost to Choya.
You know you can't lose if you're Douglas.
You
Like,
can't
Both-
lose if you're Douglas.
Both of those are really good teams.
You
Yeah,
got to.
those are two
prove it on the
really
court,
good
coach.
teams.
Douglas could lose to the Orlando Magic, and they'll be like, no, you're done. Get out.
But they did have some bright spots, of course. Diego Lopez is going to average 19 points, 6 rebounds, and
Man.
3.5 assists. And that stretch, Ryan Felix was averaging 11 points per game. I do want to give shout-outs to Cesar Duran and Elmer Maturena. Cesar had 15 points in a game, and Elmer had 11 points in the game, so double-digit scores.
Elmer's
for-
fun to watch.
Oh, for sure.
I love watching that kid play basketball.
And now, finally, we're going to talk about the Buena Colts, currently ranked
Dun, dun.
number 10 in 5A and 40th in the open bracket. So actually jumping up after a win, I thought that was crazy.
Who
That's
we whooping
so
tonight?
weird.
Who do we got tonight?
Pueblo High School. Yeah.
Pueblo,
See
you guys
ya,
already beat
Buena,
them
baby.
this year.
By the way,
Yeah.
now we can talk
Yeah.
about that. We asked y'all to show out for that game. Y'all showed out for that game last Friday.
Desert View.
That was an atmosphere.
Or no,
Let's
Micah.
do it again tonight.
Micah. Right.
Yeah, the Micah Mountain game. Let's do it again tonight.
Yes.
Y'all showed up.
Yes.
That student section was crazy. I missed you. I had a tear in my eye last Friday night. It was so much fun. You see what happened? All of a sudden, who was that kid on the other team? Oh, my good Lord. They all run. The
I forgot
superstar
his
on
name,
Mega
but
Mountain.
he was good.
Oh,
Banger.
That kid.
yeah, that guy.
And all of a sudden, the student section shows up and he starts missing shots.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know it?
It's almost
It's
like
crazy.
the crowd plays a factor.
It's crazy how that works. That kid had missed all game, and all of a sudden the student section shows up in the third quarter, and bang, that kid's missing. Whoa, so let's do it again tonight, baby.
Coach Dennis Baker's Colts are currently 16-5, 5-1 in the region, 2-1 last week, and that one still stings. I can feel it from here. They beat Desert View. They beat Micah Mountain. Of course, Micah Mountain was, I believe, ranked above you in the open bracket before you guys took care of it. Not now. I don't know what Micah Mountain's ranked now, but obviously Buena's going to be better. But the loss against Cienega, Coach, we're human beings. We like to focus on the negative. Tell us what happened against Cienega.
Man, it was a really good game. We talked about it as a team. We looked at it on film again afterwards, and sometimes you just have to accept a loss, and just basketball is a game
Not
like
this
that.
day and age.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen, right? If the thought was for us to go undefeated, then that thought has to come out of your mind, because this is a basketball, and even the best of the best teams. We look at teams in the NBA, the best college teams, they're all going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. I mean, NBA are going to have more, but even the best college teams are going to have a handful of losses that show you that there was games that they lost when they were the better team. You're the better team. You may be the best team in the whole country, or top 3 teams in the whole country, and they're even going to lose sometimes. And you want to learn from those losses so you can keep getting better, and that's just the nature of the game. So now I know on Max Preps, our record is, what is it?
16-5.
16-5, but actually those are including our tournament games where we did. That was our first regular season loss. And we talked about it as a team. We kind of needed it.
Yeah.
It was against a rival team. It was in their place. It was loud. It was crazy in there. We didn't really play all that bad, but we didn't really play all that good either. And
I heard the fans showed up to that one too, though.
yeah, they did. And when you're playing good teams, if you don't play well, if you just play okay, that's not going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made us hungrier for the rematch game, which will be our last game, regular season game of the season, next Thursday, senior night.
That's our last game on the
It
schedule.
couldn't have been set up better.
That's our last game. Yeah, we have Buena tonight, we have Buena Friday, and we have Buena next Thursday.
Wow.
Perfect. But it couldn't have been set up better for our players going into that game.
Coming into our house.
To have that loss and that sting that you talked about, and a chance to make it all go away.
You saw it too against Micah Mountain. Like, first of all, congratulations to the kids for not hanging their heads, because I thought they were after talking to you, and I thought you were hanging your head a little bit after that game. But it was like back to back, so it was still fresh in your mind.
Yeah,
and
it
they
was
came
back
out
to
with
back,
the fire against Micah Mountain, and them boys, I'll tell you, they're playing the Colts mentally. You got those guys on the right direction.
Yeah,
sure.
Hey, thank you, and I appreciate it. But we have good guys. That's why I've been so humbled and blessed all year to say sometimes you can give a message, but it's in one ear and out the other. And all coaches, I think, say the right things after losses, like, "Hey, don't hold your head."
Not all of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, the good ones.
Do they really like being interviewed that much?
The good,
boys?
they do. But
Good.
when you have players that are already positive-minded and high character competitors, all you have to do is give them a reminder. Hey, we're better than that. Hey, we're gonna learn from this. And we look at the film, we see things, and we got even more excited about the game. Like, man, we really are that close to being an undefeated regular season team.
Yeah.
So to start of the season, we had 5 games circled on our calendar that we considered the 5 biggest games of our season, and so far we're 3-1 in those, and our chance to go 4-1 with that last game. So that we couldn't have asked for anything better, and we've won every other game on our schedule. So we're still happy with where we're at. Rankings have us in the top 10, great. Earlier they had us in the top 5, great. We handle our business. We're willing to take wherever they want to put us.
Top 8 teams host the playoff games.
Yes.
Or you guys have a plan? So top 10, 16 would host one at least.
Well, for the Open, it's like the top 16.
We're not worried about that.
Yeah, but we're probably getting into the Open is what I'm saying.
Covering some Buena playoff basketball is what you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
for
definitely,
sure.
definitely.
For sure.
And
we'll follow y'all.
Open, we may be in the Open. We'll more than likely be on the road. But if it gets to 5A state playoffs, we're trying to host a game or 2 if possible.
Absolutely. And beating Cienega goes a long way in that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you beat Cienega with the student section, getting into the opposing players' heads. And especially because I always say these are kids, and it's bad. It also goes
through
derogatorily as
wrangle
well.
people up and bring them into the gym.
That has to be rocking in there.
We always like we're nice on the kids because they're kids. No, the student section doesn't have to be.
Right.
So let's go over to some stats here. Last week, Jamin Booker was 15 points and 6.5 rebounds per game. Our boy Zeus Pacheco, 13.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 4 assists per game. I thought the 4 assists was a little low, but he had a game where he only had 2 assists.
Right.
What are you doing, Jesus? Like this game's hard or something. I do want to give shout-outs to Kingston Clark against Desert View. He's leading scorer with 18 points in that game. Sam Criado, Julian Duran also contributing double-digit points last week in a game. And then I do want to give another special shout-out to Thomas Welker, who's averaged 7 rebounds per game last week, which goes back to what you guys were talking about and transforming him into this big mentality. And he's still got the three-point ball that he can shoot whenever, but he's not relying on that. He's getting in there using his size.
Absolutely.
Very good things coming out of the Buena Colts. We're going to jump over to the Canyon Athletic Association. We're just going to quickly go over Breen. They're 1-10 for the boys, 0-2 in sections. Their season is done. Dave, how the girls looking?
I got nothing.
Nothing on the girls. Dave, how are the ALA girls looking?
No, it was ALA that I don't have anything on. Marine.
Okay.
They're done with their year. I don't have any. There was no games last week. I'm not sure what's going on. 6-5, 0-2 in their region. Nothing last week. They're at Mission Heights Prep. All I know is that Kamara Golden is averaging 10 points a game this year.
6-5. That's Jeremy. That's our boy Jeremy Rhodes. He's coaching that team.
6-5. Yeah. Kamara Golden's averaging 10 a game, and Ilani Rascone averaging 2.5 steals. But I don't have a lot on the Breen Academy Lady Eagles.
No, that's head coach Jeremy Rhodes. Go ahead and get to that right there. He's working back at Fry's in Sierra Vista, by the way. So go yell at him.
I will.
I did. I told him, I was like, hey man, can you make sure Coach Williams has these stats up for ALA? He's like, I got you. And 5 minutes after the games are done, I got stats on ALA, so I'm happy about that. Congratulations to everyone on ALA. But the reason I wanted to flow through those, Dave, is you're going to talk about ALA and the Marine game and the atmosphere it was at. Before we do that, 12-4, the Guardians, 4-0 in sections. They do play, just like you said, at Charter. They beat Marine, ALPCS, and Sonoran, whoever those schools are. They're all abbreviated. I didn't have time to go look. I'm sorry. Let's talk about C.J. Williams. Congratulations first to C.J. Williams for his 1,000th point. For the ALA Guardians, he averaged 39 points per game, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6.5 steals per game last week. Porter Jones, who you're like, who is this? He had averaged 21 points last week, including a game where he had 26 points. And shout out to Owen Onstad, Deontay Echenal, Sam Daines, and Tobias Chastain. All had games with 10-plus rebounds last week, and a couple of those are 8th graders, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is nuts. Congratulations, ALA Guardians, and good luck in the postseason, which we know you're going to be.
Now, you know what's really hard is I do this. You know, you do games with me. I do this in my head. I keep stats in my head. And CJ's tough. I think he had 46 last night. I think. I'm trying to keep up with this, and I'm like, he scores so fast. Porter Jones had 20 last night. Shout out to EJ Morris for Barine. You had a decent game last night. I see everything. Number 12. I see everything. I wish you boys had been there last night. That was something else. That you talk about a student section, the Marine Academy football players, the girls. That was something else last night. I was sitting in the middle of the ALA fans and the Marine fans, and I was just like, this is crazy. That was a crazy environment last night. C.J. Williams is the part. The kid gets to the rim like a professional. He finishes like a professional. He's fast. He's like Lopez, but he's fast. Mm-hmm. The kid he's the real deal. A lot of steals last night. Like I said, I think 46 points. And yeah, that Porter Jones kid, you notice him right away when he's out there.
You know what you notice about C.J. Williams?
He's the real deal.
Well, it's this thing, not basketball. When he walks around, he kind of like crosses his legs. Like the best players, for some reason, always have that feeling like it's boring to them in any sport. Like our Jokic's, it's just I'm so good, it's boring. Give me the ball.
He's very. I mean, not like everybody already knew about the kid. I was the first time I got to put my eyes on him, and I was like, he's the real deal. He's composed. He's a kid that's played 1,000 hours of basketball. He knows exactly what. And the moment he gets the ball, he's lightning. Like the moment he gets that ball, see ya. Like he is fast. He's very, very fast, which is his number. I mean, and he's a finisher. The kid finishes at the rim like an absolute professional.
Two-way player too. Plays good.
Yeah.
You're
He had
talking
a huge
about
block
that.
last night, a transition block where the kid should have had the layup. And here comes CJ.
LeBron James style.
Yeah. It was. Very, very, very Again, professional player. The kid's a professional.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
exactly what he's doing out there.
Good kid too. Good.
Yeah, seems like a really good dad's a
good
great
dad.
guy.
Good family, and kudos to him, man. He deserves all the attention and credit that he's received.
He's a floor general too. Like he was out there last night. He's moving players over.
He's
with
playing
the ball.
with eighth graders, and they're
He's a
12
floor
and
general.
4 and 4-0. And what I love about, because you can't really see much on the box score, but the box score sometimes tells a great story, and the great story is that Porter Jones, you mentioned going over 20 points, and he's just continuing. He averages over 20 points now last week. And then you talk about all these kids, eighth graders, are out rebounding high school players, and so they're bringing them along slowly but surely. And
That's
my
funny.
goodness,
They would 100%
next
out-rebound
year
Breen
with
last night.
CJ as a senior, Porter Jones as a freshman, we got eighth graders everywhere. This team's going to they're going to run CAA preps. Just like Breen does in football. Like Canyon Athletic is going to be in for something. We got two great teams in Sierra Vista.
ALA can hang with our 2A teams like easily. I was watching them last night. They can easily hang with them.
That's all right. Let's get that Sierra Vista tournament going, Coach.
They can hang. They're not big enough, but they can score.
Because they're eighth. It's just they're eighth.
They're young. They're young. They're
But
not
they
big
can
enough.
ball.
But they
You
can
could tell.
score.
You could tell watching them last night. They can all ball. Anyway, that's going to do
that
it
was a game.
for our high school coverage, and we were dominated by some NBA stuff early on, but we want to transition over to the game of all games, the biggest spectacle
There's a football game
and
this week?
sporting
There's a football game this week.
history. The Super Bowl is up. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Philadelphia Football Eagles, and what is a rematch of a Super Bowl from a couple of years ago. Now, I don't know how we want to start this. I have my notes down. I don't know. Maybe we just go through.
I want to apologize. I wasn't ready for Super Bowl talk last week. I want to apologize. I told you I'd be ready for this week. I'm ready.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that, Dave.
I wasn't. You asked me last week. I'm like, well, yeah, we're good now.
I did want to talk more about.
I think
the
he was
Bills Chiefs game.
anti-NFL last week.
He's just an anti-person, but he gets over it. He's like,
I know where to start. Let's start with defense. The Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what I
The
had.
Kansas City Chiefs have not given up 100 yards to a running back all year. The only person that could ran for 100 yards on them is Lamar Jackson. And
Yeah,
so
wow.
whatever.
And that was fair.
No hate in that game, but you talked about this all year long. The Kansas City Chiefs are living and dying on the defensive end of the football, and that's a number that you really need to pay attention to.
I think so. This is the thing too.
Good catch.
When Derrick Henry this is my comp because Derrick Henry's been the biggest force.
Water, I'll be right.
Derrick Henry's been the biggest force in the NFL. I don't think he has a single 100-yard game against Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs. Now,
That's interesting.
I do expect that to change because I think Saquon, he gets 108, 110 yards. But what we're going to talk about is can he – I feel like he's going to break 120-plus yarder, maybe two. It's the consistent game.
Yeah.
Can he keep going forward?
Can he get 3, 4 every carry?
They're going to feed him for sure.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't feel like Saquon Barkley is going to be the factor that wins this game. But talking about the defense, Dave, let's go over some numbers because the Chiefs are the number 4 defense in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles are the number 2 defense in the NFL, scoring and yards wise. I found that interesting. It usually doesn't work out that way. The differences in the defense. Philadelphia's third down percentages, they are number 3 in the NFL at getting off the field on third downs. The Kansas City Chiefs are number 27 in the league at getting off on third downs because I don't know why. 3rd and 15 feels like 3rd and inches when you're a Chiefs fan. Fourth down percentage.
Fourth in the NFL in defense with 27th and third down percentage. How
Because
is that even possible?
It's the way we
Are you
play
talking
it.
about scoring defense?
And total defense. It's the way we play complementary football. We've gone from a light show to a ball control offense, so the defense doesn't have.
Really, you're complimenting him every time they get a first down. You're like, that's a good one,
Yeah,
guys.
no shit. No kidding. But yeah, so then
Yeah,
we
that's
go over to
trouble.
the fourth down percentages. Philly's actually very poor at getting off the field on fourth down. They're 24th, ranked 24th in fourth down conversions, and the Chiefs are top 10 and 9th in fourth down conversions. So what's that mean? What does all that mean? Well, never mind. We go over the advanced metrics next. Sorry about that. I jumped the gun on this. Advanced metrics. Hurry percentage, pressure percentage, passes knocked down. Chiefs are number 1 in a couple and in top 3 in all of those. And in those, Philly ranks in the bottom half of the league. So these are advanced metrics. So what does that mean? How does Jalen handle the exotic Spags blitzes when Steve Spagnuolo is going to do one thing and one thing only, and that's try to shut down Saquon Barkley? That is my biggest question for this game is how does Jalen Hurts compose himself? I want to get your answers, and then I'll go ahead and
I don't think that stopping Saquon is the thing.
I think slowing him down is.
No, I think putting Jalen Hurts is going to be the X factor of this game, not Saquon Barkley. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to beat Kansas City through the air.
Yes.
They're going to have to go and attack them downfield. They're not going to be able to run their way through them like they did in the NFC Championship.
But that's the question I pose. Like, Steve Spagnuolo is going to have exotic looks to try to slow down Saquon Barkley. I talked about it. I feel like Saquon's going to have 100 yards. He's going to be close to it anywhere around it because I feel like they're going to feed and feed and feed. And unless the Chiefs jump out to a 2-possession lead, Saquon's going to get the ball. This isn't a Bills team. This isn't a Ravens team that has bad scar tissue. They did lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But Buffalo and
that's more motivating scar tissue.
But Buffalo and Baltimore played the Chiefs when they were a light show, and they still have that in their head. And so when they see Mahomes not being stopped, they're like, we got to throw the ball. And I don't think that's going to be the Eagles. I think they continue to run the ball. In the last Super Bowl we saw, they continued to run the ball until it was the last drive, and they needed a Hail Mary.
Philly's going to run the ball regardless.
I hope they do.
If whether they're stopping it early or they're not, they're going to run the ball regardless. The game is going to come down to the explosives. He said Jalen Hurts is going to have to attack downfield. I don't think you have to do it all game. I think there's just going to be 3 or 4 plays made downfield where going to be 30-yard or more passes are going to, to A.J. Brown or I can't think of the other receiver.
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, yeah. Those guys can make explosives. And, of course, Saquon Barkley, he might run 10 times for 30 yards, and then his 11th carry, he'll get 30 yards. Yeah. So a few explosives thrown throughout there, I think, would be Philly's game plan. Pound, and then throw out an explosive.
Well, he's talking about Spagnuolo. What these blitzes is so Jalen Hurts is going to be at an A game all day, where every time those blitzes come in, he needs to identify his one-on-ones and just attack it. And just have the faith with Devontae and A.J. Brown. The moment that blitz comes in, bang, I got one-on-one to A.J.
Well, A.J., he could just throw it up.
Yeah, just let it go.
Just throw it up to A.J.
Jalen Hurts is going to have to be like radar Terminator focus on these defenders because they're going to be coming at him.
I think that's what the Chiefs would want. They want the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, trying to make plays downfield all game.
Exactly. And so we think about the playoff games. This is why I say all the time with Spags is he's going to sell out. He's not going to. When we talk about Washington, we talk about Detroit. It sucks to be Detroit. It's 18 players on injured reserve. What are you going to do? But Washington, they're undermanned. They're trying to stop everything. Spags does not care. He's going to stop this one thing. He's going to make the other person beat you, which is great. We can just go over to the offensive notes that I have here for the Eagles since you guys talked about it. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a big game. I think he did it last year. Where I'm a little bit cautious is he did it against the Chiefs defense. That is almost the exact same defense last year. And they're 2 years older. If everyone remembers, they had 5 rookies starting for him and all that stuff. So the defense has matured, and I feel like that'd be motivation for them because they got torched by Jalen Hurts in the last Super Bowl. That is out there for the world to hear. That's just what we call a fact.
Apparently we don't have a headline on our show.
I got it.
Oh, you fixed it.
Yeah, I fixed it a long time ago. Don't worry about it.
Sorry, I got interrupted.
It was great. It was during our NBA talk. I'm like, I don't know anything. Let me fix this real quick. Let's go over to
Chiefs offense.
Against that Philadelphia front seven, the Kansas City Chiefs just don't look like a confident running the ball team right now. I think Philadelphia is going to eat on this team.
I'm going to disagree with that, but I want to.
Pacheco healthy?
Pacheco's going to be healthy, but I don't think anyone in Kansas City wants to see Pacheco touch the ball because Kareem Hunt just knows the epitome. He had a touchdown run of 14 yards last week or whatever it was. That was not the play. Ed Oliver comes in and blows a play up in the backfield, 3 yards in the backfield. Kareem Hunt. This is Ed Oliver we're talking about. Kareem Hunt bounces off and gets 2 yards. It's the little things that you don't notice about the game that change the game.
Right.
All of a sudden we're in 2nd and 8 instead of 2nd and 14.
Right.
That's a big deal in football.
I
Pacheco makes plays like that,
and out
too.
For the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes is going to have to put his cape on in this one.
He will.
The front seven for Philadelphia is out of control.
He will, but the front seven was out of control last year. But let's stay on the offense here because you guys made a lot of good points that I want to kind of get to. For the Eagles, I think again the X factor for the Chiefs is going to be Saquon Barkley. And Coach, you said, and Dave, you said too, there's going to be a lot of pressures. So A.J. Brown needs to put the book down and he needs to focus. So because they're going to bring pressure doesn't mean A.J. Brown's going to have one-on-ones. He's probably going to have help over the
Yeah.
top
You can't
against
do
A.J. Brown.
all of it.
No.
You can't bring
You
blitzers
can't. And that's why Devontae Smith is going to have true
You got to help somewhere else.
one-on-ones.
Yes.
And Devontae Smith, this goes back. Do you want to put Trent McDuffie on Devontae Smith on a true one-on-one and then have Jalen Watson on A.J. Brown with a shade help? It's darned if you do, darned if you don't. There's a lot.
A tight end is a problem too.
There's a lot that the
Goddard,
Eagles
yeah.
have to offer in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they defend.
I think top to bottom, I said this, and you made your counterpoint. The Eagles, top to bottom, are a better football team. Like 1 through 53, they're better. What did you say? The two most important things you need in the football: coach and the quarterback. And Kansas City has the advantage in those two areas, but I think Philadelphia has the advantage in every other area.
I don't feel like it's.
You know what? I agree with everything you just said. Right.
I don't feel like it's as big a gap as you think it is, because offensive line, after we moved Joe Tooney to left tackle, Patrick Mahomes only been sacked 5 times in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts been sacked 11 times. Jalen Hurts has an extra game. It is what it is.
Travis Kelce just said yesterday they don't have that little guy at center anymore. They have a real center in Philadelphia now.
That little guy.
But then we
not
look
that
at
little
the
guy.
we look at the front seven from both teams. I'm glad you mentioned the front sevens, Dave, because we do have 2 great front sevens going after it right now for both teams. And outside of the edges have to win their one-on-ones. Jalen Carter's getting double-teamed. Chris Jones is getting double-teamed.
Only Richards is going to eat.
So that means for the Eagles, Josh Sweat, Nolan Smith,
Or
and
Nolan Smith, excuse me.
Nicole B. Dean, and if Brandon Graham plays, they're going to have to win those one-on-ones on the outside. Can they do it? Sure. The Chiefs tackles, except for Joe Tooney, who just moved over. What a move that is, by the way. Like they've been getting beat all year. And then what we have is George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana for the Chiefs have to get off. Now, George Karlaftis quietly having one of the best postseason defensive ends ever had in the history of the NFL. So he's shown he can do it, but it's a little bit different with Jalen Hurts because it looks like design-wise, the Buffalo Bills, they want to design the passes downfield. It looks like the Eagles are 1-2 reads, Jalen Hurts take off, and their offensive scheme reflects that. Whereas it's hold up for Josh Allen to throw something downfield, but it's for the Eagles, it's like make sure you also give Hurts an outlet to run.
All right, it's going to be a good game.
It is.
Like I said, that's why I like the Super Bowl because it's a Dave thing. It's not a football game; it's a spectacle. Like the Super Bowl is a whole, it's a holiday, right. and it's a symbolic end to a long football season. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good time.
Dave always says the Super Bowl should be the championships, but I disagree.
I did. The end. That's to me the AFC. I'm a Seahawks fan. Beating the Niners and beating the Packers was way cooler than beating the Broncos.
A lot of times it does work out that way because you get more familiarity with your opponent. At least sometimes, and they say familiarity builds content. So there's more rivalry action in those games. And then sometimes you get those Super Bowl games where it's like a blowout or, it's not even a competitive
Seattle,
game.
Denver,
that will not be this one.
Now let's ask the most important question of Super Bowl coverage. What are we eating on Sunday? He's a professional cook.
Cat's out of the bag. All right. So I went back and forth with Barbie about this, and we are going to Donna Hectus in the chat says, who's playing in the Super Bowl? Chiefs and Eagles. I don't know if that was serious or not, so I just said it. We will be having a few people over for the Super Bowl.
This is why we root for the Chiefs.
Barbie didn't want it, but we're definitely going to have ribs.
He can cook.
Barbie's going to make her 7-layer dip for you.
Invite Coach over?
So that's 3 years in a row now.
Well,
they said anytime the Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
We didn't. No, last year was a quiet game.
It was just you.
Yeah, just me. Yeah,
and that's why I said I'm not
Coach,
bringing him back because
Coach,
after
you're
every
invited
Super Bowl,
over.
he wants to bring me down.
Coach, you're invited over.
All right.
Of course he is.
All
The 7-layer dip. All right, so we wouldn't be unless we tell this story. The first Super Bowl that the Kansas City Chiefs were in, his wife Barbie. I mean, when I talk about makes a table, she made a table of food.
A spread,
a spread.
It's got the tablecloth on it. It's got
bigger,
Chiefs and football decorations.
And I'm sitting outside with his wife, and we hear it. And we hear the table go down because her brother didn't walk a leg on the table. And there's $500 worth of food laying on the floor.
Are you serious?
Oh, we're outside, and we can hear it. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, oh, Barbie, oh, no. And she looks in the door, and all this food is on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
And
She cried.
Or can we talk about the Houston Texan game that got them to the Super Bowl, and they were down 24-0, and we're outside again. I sit outside because he gets a little crazy during the games, and Kansas City Chiefs scored the go-ahead touchdown, and this guy hits the door so hard that it flies off the hinges. He's like, Chiefs, oh! And the door flies off the hinges, and we're like, oh my god.
We could tell that story now that we're not living there. The landlord was charging.
It was like the Incredible Hulk, like just. Oh!
They did call me Hulk for a long time.
Chiefs,
We have a lot of Kansas City Chiefs playoff Super Bowl stories.
Like you wouldn't believe,
yes,
Coach.
You definitely need to come by to at least get some food. Because
The lesson of the story about that is we always talk about daving, and nobody understands what daving is. And so this is a thing, too. Like, I play like superstitious. I really don't believe in it too much. But when it's not going your way, you want to know what happens.
Anything. Yeah.
For sure. I guess I am superstitious, but anyway.
I've been there for all your wins too, so you don't mention that.
Well, here's the thing. So it's the 24-0 game. Chiefs are down, and Dave's late to the party. And it's 24-0 before we can blink. And Dave finally shows up. I crack open the door. I was like, "What did you say about my team?" He's like,
and when I showed up, you started winning. So
for sure.
Like, that's how you get the invite every year, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. Really.
No, I get the invite because he can't turn me away because I'm family.
Before we
he doesn't want me there.
He tries to bring me down after the wins, man. It's just like I want to celebrate a win. Any which way, let's before we go back over to the Chiefs offense, let's finish up on the Eagles offense real quick. What I have here is the Philly offensive line is going to have to communicate. They can't have one miscommunication. That happened a couple times in the last Super Bowl. Jason Kelsey talks about it. He called the wrong protection. Hurts' legs are scary, but if the Chiefs can get him to roll out to the left, he's a lot less dangerous than if he rolls out to the right. Not saying he can't
that's
do it.
assuming that his knee is okay.
I think it will be.
We don't know what that knee.
He's been playing. He's been playing. He looks fine. He's got 2 weeks to get healthy.
Why are you running a tush push with an injured quarterback?
Well, speaking of the tush push, the Philadelphia Eagles are the only team in the NFL that have an unstoppable play for 2 yards every time. And so what that means,
I give it 1 yard. I would say unstoppable for 1 yard.
It's unstoppable at 2 yards, Coach.
Really?
They get 2-3 yards every single.
You're going for it?
Oh, absolutely. You know why, Coach? Because in my notes I have 3rd and 4 is an automatic first down.
Philly it's unstoppable. Like Buffalo tried to do it.
2 yards though.
You know what was lost in that is Jalen Hurts is 6'1", 6'2". Josh Allen 6'7", and someone made the point that Josh Allen can't stay behind his lineman because he's so big. So when he ducks down, he's above his lineman, where Jalen Hurts is actually behind his lineman. Exactly.
Right.
So, getting over to the Chiefs offense now. Yes, I do believe 4th and 2 is a first down, and I believe 4th and 2, the Eagles are going forward even if it's on their own 10-yard line, and I think they get it.
No.
Not Coach.
Tush push 4th and 2 at your own 10.
Philadelphia to win this game, they're going to have to play old school football, run the ball, time of possession, field position. The Eagles are not going to win this game like in a funky way. They need to win this game like 1960s.
I look at it
football.
When I watch football, I always equate it back to my team and the Chiefs. And now that they're playing a game against me, I equate it to what am I worried about? What scares me the most? It's how I rank my quarterbacks. Josh Allen is still scarier than Lamar Jackson to me because he can run my team over. But so that's the thing that I'm scared of is our 4th and short situations. No matter where they're at on the field, Philly doesn't punt because I feel like it's 100%er that they're going to get the first down within 2 yards.
I think I agree with you at 4th and 1, but not 2. Not 2.
If it's 4th and 1 on their own 10, they're doing it. If it's 4th and 2, they might think about it. But at the same time, I don't know if they're ever going to be pinned on their own 10. I think we get a couple 3 and outs, but I don't think it's going to be.
I think you're lucky that you got Philly. Because
I know Washington.
As much as this modernized animosity for the Kansas City Chiefs exists, nobody hates them more than they hate Philly. Like everybody hates the Philadelphia Eagles.
I told that to Barbie the other day.
Philly fans, they're the only ones.
I told that to Barbie the other day. I was like, God bless Philly. Everyone's rooting for my team now. I don't know how to take this.
There's something about the Philadelphia
I've been so
Eagles,
combative all year, and now all of a sudden people are rooting for the Chiefs. Like, what's going on?
Nobody wants to see Philadelphia win another Super Bowl.
No, I think
we'd rather.
I thought you were going to say
7 in a row than those idiots win 1.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Dave. It's the nicest thing you said about my team in 4 years. Let's go ahead and start over to the Chiefs. I think Andy and Patrick are going to put on a master class. I think the trend of scoring in the red zone continues as well. I don't think there's anything to tell us otherwise. I feel like the Eagles had a better defense the last time in the Super Bowl, and they stopped the Kansas City Chiefs 0 times in the second half. I think that trend kind of continues, especially.
These are two different teams that played 2 years ago.
Not necessarily. Yeah, Jalen Carter, you sub him out for. I can't remember who got traded to the Jets or whatever.
I don't know.
I feel like the game plans are going to be the same.
Then Kenneth Gainwell, yeah.
DeAndre Swift. I'm a very big DeAndre Swift fan.
Me too.
But Saquon Barkley showed me that running backs do make a difference. So there you go. DeAndre Swift got 1,500 yards. Jalen Hurts got 2,005 yards. It is what it is. But I think, and the reason I'm a little bit confident, this is before we go on the offense. I've never been this more confident of a Super Bowl outside of the Buccaneers Super Bowl that we got blown out 31-9. So that scares me. My own confidence scares me in this one because every other Super Bowl I'm like, oh man, we got the worst team coming in.
But this one, you really feel like you're going to win.
I feel like we have the best team.
Better than this Philly team.
I feel like we have a better team. I mean, the Bucs snuck into the playoffs and
quarterback.
It is what it is. What are you going to do? I think moving Joe Tooney out to left tackle, we talked about it a couple times, has been transformative. He's an all-pro guard. But that does mean, because we have two of our three all-pros now out of the center, Jalen Carter goes against our backup left guard. And so that's concerning for me as well. And Jalen Carter, his stats are a little bit less than his impact is on the field. Pacheco should be 100% healthy. Coach, you were asking about that. This would be the first time we get to see a true 1-2 Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco. 1-2 punch, we'll see if it works out. And then, like we said already, Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson are going to be on islands. AJ and Devontae Smith will win. This offense, the league is designed for receivers to win one-on-ones. And for me, it's how do they maintain, especially Jalen. Trent McDuffie doesn't care. He gets to be for a touchdown. He's good. But can you maintain your head when Devontae Smith makes a play over you?
Slim Reaper. All right. So, two last things then. So, we're the Super Bowl. Let's talk to the fans about what they really want to know. Is Taylor Swift performing with Kendrick Lamar?
I hope so.
Okay.
I still haven't listened to a single song of Taylor Swift, and she's been my favorite musical artist ever.
I knew that you were trouble when you walked in.
I wish I could quote a lyric. I really do to respond to that.
I can't help you.
You know what? When this show ends, we are never, ever, ever getting back together.
Ever.
I bet.
All right. So score predictions.
Picks?
So, for me, this is kind of like the same thing I had with Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to win close, Kansas City's going to win close, or Kansas City's going to have a 2-touchdown lead and blow them out. Obviously, I feel the same way about this game. And I feel, and this is just me being a homer, and I got to be honest with people because I don't want to jinx us like I did the Buccaneers Super Bowl, but I feel like it's 32-19. Kansas City wins. I feel like red zone defense, if you can keep them away from the 2-yard line, Chiefs have the advantage. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to say 32-24 so bad to keep it one touchdown, but for some reason, I just feel like it's a coming out party for the Chiefs, which means if you're a betting man, you put money on the Eagles to win. Dave, they can't read that, brother.
It's 31-27 Kansas City.
No, now Dave's been wrong all year, so now you have to put money on the Eagles.
I'm going to say 34-38 Eagles.
Woo!
Coach is
And I just
never
came
coming
up
back
with
to this show ever again.
Hey, I just came up with this right now because I've been thinking Chiefs the whole time because Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, a week to prepare. That's pretty dangerous. They really know how to win. If it's one thing that I'll say about Mahomes is he knows how to win, and I feel like he knows it's a Super Bowl. He knows the recipe. They're experienced with it. But I do think that there's a chance for a little bit of
I don't hate the pick.
Comfort.
I think you need to change
a little bit of comfort. And well, I think it's going to take a lot. I think and the one thing I'm going to say watch out for, too, it could make me look like a genius, is screen passes to Saquon Barkley.
But they don't really show that. That's a.
This is why it's going to be a thing.
There's levels to this. This is why he's a coach.
When you break down what the Chiefs are going to have to do, you see it. Everybody sees it. Oh, you're going to have to stop the run, and you're going to want to blitz Hurts and put him in bad situations passing. I think all those signs point to wide receiver screens, halfback screens with Saquon. They want to get Saquon the ball as much as possible, but they're not going to want to keep giving it to him and, hey, play mano-a-mano, run up the middle, see if you can get 3 yards all day. I think they're going to get creative with how to get Saquon the ball. The screen game will kind of nullify the blitz and whatever Spags got going on, whatever, it could. So look out for 3 or 4 times in this game the screen pass hurting the Kansas City Chiefs.
So that is a hell of a take, Coach. I'd say change your 38
real
prediction.
specific.
Only one team in the last 3 years has put up 30 points against the Chiefs defense, and it was Buffalo this year. That's why I said you might want to change the score prediction.
Yeah, but look at last week. They was high scoring.
Here's the thing. That is a great take. Saquon Barkley going against in a screen game.
Well on the screen game.
And you can even roll Hurts out because he's got legs and throw it back. I would say avoid the wide receiver screens because the Kansas City Chiefs, it's well documented, are the best tackling team in football, and it comes from their secondary. And so wide receiver screens don't necessarily work on the Chiefs unless you get them backed off, which their corners don't like to play backed off. But
screens to A.J. Brown are a little different than,
not to Tyreek
Stephon Diggs and other. Well, I mean, like as far as like how difficult it is to bring down A.J. Brown in a short pass situation.
I agree, but I think the wide receiver screen game they don't lean into, and what we have to remember is the Chiefs have one of the smarter defenses in terms of players in the NFL. Because they had a wide open swing pass and Justin of the Bills and Justin Reed just recognized it. That's not where he was supposed to be. Yeah. And then, going back to the Bills game, I really wanted to touch on this. Nobody talks about this. That second down play, 2nd and 10 for the Bills, would have been a touchdown if George Karlaftis, being smart, didn't recognize screen, come off the edge, because the one corner that could have stopped him fell down. So there's a lot of smart football being played. That's one thing nobody talks about at high-end levels, NBA, NFL. Yeah. They say like basketball IQ and football IQ, but nobody talks about how actually smart these people are.
Yeah, especially in terms of their game, their responsibilities. Mm-hmm. You ever hear a quarterback rattle off the play in a huddle? How crazy that sounds?
Trips line. Ryan Russell in the chat says yeet, and also 24-27 Chiefs lose. Well, Ryan Russell, I think, has been wrong all year too. So who we're going to put our money on? That's the question.
Hey, I don't hate the Chiefs.
You're entitled to your opinion, Coach.
I think they may even win still, obviously.
The voodoo magic is over. It's time for Philly rain.
No, I don't know. I just think it's time.
Voodoo magic.
It's time.
All right, speaking of time, that's a great segue, Coach, becoming a professional. It's time. He's ranting, he's raving. That's what we call Dave. And it's time for part 2 of Dave's diatribe. He started the show out with it.
Let me let Coach out of here real quick.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot we did that. It was so long ago we discussed this.
Oh, all right. Well, like I said, my diatribe was going to be about the NBA trade, but I don't write these scripts. And so we are going to start calling this Let's Piss Off Paul's Dave diatribe, okay? Because, again, this just came across my desk last night. So, Pat Hoiberg got fired yesterday. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Pat Hoiberg is the best umpire in Major League Baseball at calling balls and strikes. And he got fired from his job yesterday. Why is that, Paul? Tell us why Pat Hoiberg is not going to be a Major League umpire this year.
Because something to do with the giving information about the sports bets?
Something about betting sports with his best friend and his best friend sharing a DraftKings account with this umpire and bets being made on baseball.
None of that was it. It wasn't sharing. It wasn't anything.
It was 100%.
He hasn't been proven that he was betting. Continue your diatribe.
You don't just... They didn't suspend him. They fired him.
I know.
Okay? This is an inevitable thing. I talk about it all the time, and you're going to see it over and over and over again. Professional sports can no longer be trusted. When you have the best umpire in Major League Baseball, once again getting fired, not investigated, not suspended, fired for gambling on Major League Baseball. Gambling's legal now, folks. It's legal. Welcome to the new world. And they're going to keep calling them out as rogue people, but trust me, there's nothing rogue about this at all. Major League Baseball is completely corrupt, and their best umpire just got fired because of it. And again, I know you don't like talking about this. You like talking about what's on the field stuff. But unfortunately, this is a reality that we're living in. We are living in a legalized gambling reality where people, what do they say in the movie Casino? If you take care of somebody, even if you take care of them really well, they'll still try to get something on their own. And so here we go again. Legalized gambling is once again ruining professional sports. And
I wouldn't say
we talk about lack of good officials. We just lost the best one because he can't stop gambling on the sport.
I wouldn't say legalized gambling's ruined it. I think it's actually better for the sport that it's legal because you don't have the deep-seated ties to criminality involved in it. But I do, that's a big story that came out, and I like that they addressed it by firing him even before the facts came out because I talk about it all the time. and it sucks when you talk about some of the crimes that athletes have committed. The integrity of the sport is the number one crime against the sport that you can commit. So they have to come out and do something about that.
But so Pat Hober, okay. So you lose your best official, but Shohei Ohtani's going to be on the field next year. Give me a break.
But Shohei, it wasn't proved that he gambled either. So it's one of those.
They
things.
didn't even investigate Holberg.
Okay, so
they just fired him.
Okay, well, Holberg is an umpire. Shohei Ohtani is the only draw you have in Major League Baseball. There's levels to this. Okay, there's levels to this. Okay, Dave?
So
I'm
it's
just
integrity
saying.
of the game to a point.
To a point, yeah.
Nobody cares about Dante Porter.
So here's the thing, too, that I don't want to sound like I'm naive to the fact that this is happening. The largest sports organization in the world, FIFA, was caught match fixing years ago. And that's why you have gut knee-jerk reactions to all this, because you have to. Anytime the word gambling is mentioned in your sports, you have to take care of it right there. And I agree. I don't feel like this umpire is the only one. Now, he's the best at calling balls and strikes, so I kind of don't want to see him fired because we have a little bit of a problem with that. And the only way you take care of this, and it sucks for the purists, and I was kind of one of those, but you increase the technology so it's there for the world to see.
Yeah, that's what
happened in soccer, and soccer's a clean game.
You're going to get people like Dave Davies to trust your sports is to automate it and be like, okay, we're done. I'm going to take the human element out of this because this is ridiculous because everybody has something in it. Everybody has something else going on that has nothing to do with the game. And
every play needs to be reviewed. They don't have to stop the play for it. You just review it. They do it in soccer all the time. It's a little easier in soccer because you have the play on type thing that's going on. So you can bring it back 2 minutes later like, hey, we found something. Let's all come back. And we're do this free kick. But in terms of balls and strikes from the umpire, that's the most inherently human thing that everyone wants to see. Until an umpire screws your team out of calling 3 strikes that were all balls. So, I mean, like, you have to have the technology implemented.
We're getting to the point where we can't trust anybody.
No.
We can't trust
anybody. And you should,
anybody.
Honestly. You should. DTA, boys, Stone Cold said it. Don't trust anybody. And it's the same thing. But here's the thing, too. Like, the more technology you use, then those conversations come into play. Like, it's tennis players. They've been using technology for years. They don't trust it. They don't trust the in and out. They still don't trust it.
Tennis is the best we got. Tennis is getting it right.
But it's the best we have. It's the best situation that we have.
No, but again, don't trust anybody. Tennis is very corrupt for other reasons. It has nothing to do with the technology or the umpire sitting in the thing.
I'll give you the analogy.
It's corrupt for other reasons.
So I do like that Major League Baseball came out and addressed it. I'll give you the perfect analogy. The only combat sport to exist for a long time was boxing, and it got so corrupt. And every single fight seemed fixed, that it is no longer, even before the UFC came out and MMA came out, boxing was dead.
Yep.
So you can't sit there and tell me that an organization is too big to fail, especially with the boxers that they had at the time that were waving the flag. Like, everyone loved Roy Jones and Floyd Mayweather and all that stuff.
Too big to fail. The Olympics is dead. The Olympics used to be the biggest thing on the planet. The Olympics is dead because people are tired of the corruption. They're tired of Russian judges rigging figure skating matches. It's tiring. It's tiring. That's why I watch UFC, bowling, and golf. It's really hard to rig those sports.
Oh, man, never mind. It is what it is. I think that's it. We've gone on a little too long for the show. Before I go over and say bye to the camera, or Dave does, Dave wants to remind you that this is brought to you by the Sierra Vista Golf Center.
Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol. The driving range will be up. But we're not talking about a regular driving range. We're talking about the driving range will be up next week. So TVs, it's like Top Golf stuff. You're going to love it. Get the Vista card. Discounts on everything. Cheap golf. We'll see you tonight at Buena, baby.
And also,
Pueblo, don't even make the trip.
Thank you to Synergy Home Care of Sierra Vista, providing non-medical home care all across Cochise County, including the 4 or 5 people we went out and saw in Douglas, Arizona. Call them today, 520-685-1035. Every single person we saw in Douglas yesterday was applying to have that paid for them, and they're going to be approved. Call Synergy today to figure out how you can have that happen for Coach Dennis Baker of the Buena Colts, for Dave Davies. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you tonight a few times tonight. Take it easy.